regular old steering. These trucks, there's no power steering, no nothing in it right now. But let's see what we can do about it first. Ugh. That is a chore right there. Old cars and being able to climb up in them. Here's one of them. Oh, there it is. Old gearbox. Yeah. Okay, old gearbox. You can see the bolt pattern here. Sucker's light, full manual. Power steering gearbox, very heavy. Same bolt pattern. It is physically bigger. I hope it fits here. All I can do is hope. Here, the column collapses. It has a slide. So that's not a big deal, but let me look and see on here if it's gonna work. Yeah. Climb back up in here. Yep, looks like it sets in there. Let's see if it's gonna bolt up. Let me get you in here and show you what I had to do. I had to grind that little bit of the mount bracket out of there to drop the power steering gearbox in because it's a little bit longer. So only Ford would make something that you put power steering in, you got to change the frame. You know, come on. That's par for the course. Hence, I'm a Chevy fan. Yep, put power steering on it, just bolt it right up and it goes. Ford, they just think a little bit different. They put a different engine in. Oh, different frame. They put, you know, whatever. Different transmission. Oh, different frame, different body, different everything. That's nuts. Why should you have to do that? Why would they have to change that? That gearbox was bought for a 71 F250 with an FE block. Look at that. FE block. 71 F250 doesn't fit. Imagine that. Last night was not an exciting night, nor was it fun. Hang on, we got a glare here. That's a little better. But either way, got the steering gearbox in. My wife's over at Summit picking up a pitman arm because, you know, if you're not a Ford guy, you don't know. That's all I'm going to say. But the pitman arm's different between power steering and non-power steering. Why? Because Ford. So that, as well as the column is different. Not the actual column, the steering shaft inside the column. I'll show you that in a second. So box is in. I'm happy about that, but the shaft is different because this part, the input, sits closer to the firewall than the non-power steering gearbox does. I assumed it maybe had a slip coupler or something like that. Their rag joint piece and all this is welded together. So I've already dug and looked and tried to find something. Man, the other camera's dirty too. There we go, maybe a little better. But I've played and looked online. I stayed up too late last night trying to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this once I get it all measured up. I'm going to sleeve it, weld it back together. I have, let's see if I can get y'all in here, the coupler hooked up, and it doesn't quite reach like it's supposed to, but I'll show you why. And that shaft, sorry, this inner shaft is the part that's different. So this piece, not that piece of the column, the actual column, just the inner shaft, the steering shaft. And we'll hold this up here so you get an idea You can see where it mounts right there. We'll take that cover off, and it just goes right into these 2 screw holes, here and here, through these brackets. Now, you can see, there we go, it's up. Okay, you can see the distance, and this is my measurement I need to take from the threaded holes up to there. That's it. Threaded hole to there, where the mark is. Once I get that measurement, that's what I need to cut off of it. It should be good. Key word is should. A little nerve-wracking when you can't get parts. And sorry about the noise, it's raining in Texas again. But I'm gonna cut it. I've got this piece of tape on here. I'm gonna cut it along that tape line. That'll give me that first cut. I'll shorten it as much as I'm comfortable with. Let's put it that way. And we'll go from there. Well, no going back now, is there? There you go. And there's my mark that I made, so we can line it back up, because I wanted to make sure that it's lined up so the steering wheel will center in the same position, all that good stuff. So, yeehaw. All right, let's keep rocking. Smooth. Trying out my new little nun habit here, just to keep the shadows off. I always have problems with that, me and my horrible vision, but doing anything I can do to help. Yeah, that's gonna make it work. That breaks, we got issues. Alright, shaft is all modified, got everything kind of slid back together and in place. I used some grease and kind of lubed up the bearings. We're just going to slide her back together. Let's see here. What's the head on? Oh, there it is. Found it. There we go. Bam. I do believe we're going to be golden. Let me wipe this down, get the grease off of it, put the steering wheel back on. Nah, I don't want to put the steering wheel back on. I'm going to put this in and get it all clamped in, bolted in, all that stuff, and then I'll figure out where it needs to go. There we go. I do believe we're going to be in good shape. That was a pain, not quite expected, so that's okay. It's part of doing this and modifying stuff. You gotta kind of expect the unexpectable, or whatever you want to call it. Bolts are started, and we can actually adjust it out some if we want to. So I cut it just about right, because you can see by the telltale right there. Oh, you can see by the telltale right here that I could actually slide it out just a tad bit, and right there's where it sat before. There we go. Excellent. Hose mock-up done. I'll just take some spare AN fittings, GIC, whatever you want to call them, and hook some hose to them, like so. Okay, here's my final setup on my power steering hoses. So we got pressure line coming out. I had this line made by a local hydraulic shop, and goes into the box right there. Come on now. Right there. And I got an adapter fitting that goes from that 5/8/18 flare. Now this one's a 1/2 inch 20 flare. I can't remember. The small one. To a 6 AN or 6 GIC, however you want to call it. Then I got this one over here to the 5/8/18 flare to the 6. And then return line's just a piece of hose. Shut up, Rooster! And then that goes over here, back up to a fitting, that metal pipe, and it's just hose clamped on. So there's that. We're gonna get in here and we're gonna see how much better this steering is now that it's all done. Y'all can see that little display screen right there. That's a future one coming up. That is like butter, and that's sitting still. You've absolutely got to love it. Very nice. Nice and smooth. That's a nice convenience adder right there. There we go. That's a wrap on that one. Stay tuned for more. We got Holly Sniper install coming up. We've also got some interior stuff that we're doing. We're putting some sound deadening and floor mat in, just the last finishing touches, and getting the lights working. And then this one's ready to go, deliver to the customer.